Hello, my name is Marcus and welcome to Tabletop Reviews. It is once again a Monday, and which means I'm once again having a look at a ticket ride. Rails and Sails. Very big, probably the biggest box ticket ride there is right now. It's not counting the 15 and 10 year anniversaries. About where you both have your trains and also your boats. Very interesting. So let's quickly head to the table and see how it's set up and played. Alright, let's set up this massive thing. I'm actually gonna have to put these down here, not on the table, because the main board here is very big. It's very big. There we have the world map right here, and you can barely see it. It's right there. Jesus Christ. All right. Well, of course, there's a few key differences to this one. The first part is that you obviously go through ships and trains. So what you have here is a regular pile of ship cards. They look like this in this game. Oh, that's upside down. Bam. Quite different all over. Mix those up. Put them over on some side of the table, whatever side you choose. And you will flip over 3 cards. Of course, 3 top cards. Bam. And then you'll do the same with the ship cards here. Now note that some of the ship cards may be double ships. This one, there's 2 ships up here and there's 2 ships on the artwork, and this is a regular, just a singular ship. Again, mix those up, sort of nicely, put them in and flipping over the top 3 cards. There we go. That's that set up. Another thing that's quite different. Another thing that's quite different is the starting hand, as you actually get 7 ship cards and, well, 2 train cards like normal. So let's just say the players are here, but you get 7 ship cards each, which is a massive number, and I'm actually having to double read that, and I did read 7, and actually you get 3 train cards, and then 7, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 7. Just needed to double check the rules, but yes, it is 7. I remember correctly. Boy. Then of course you have your player marker right here, which we can place down here next to the 1, just to point out that it's 0. And then finally, I have all your components right here. I'm just going to bring out one color. You get the idea. Basically, you have a bunch of ships and a bunch of boats, and then you have 3, well, not stations, but harbors. All harbors you get, but mixing together ships and trains, you need to have 60 total. For the starting game, they tell you to go 20 trains and 40 boats for a starting game, but you can mix and match exactly how you want to do it. I'm not going to count it up now, but that's just the reference there. And then of course you have the one thing that's quite normal. Let me just make sure I get the correct cards right here. Tickets. Give 5 to each. You have to keep 2 of them to start off the game. And these will go for a mixture of different routes where you move across, you know, over boat and train to get to wherever you're going. Alright. Boy, that's a lot here. Now, the main part of the game plays as normally. You can either draw 2 cards from your piles over here. You can choose to draw 1 of each. Of course, not this one, as this is a multicolored one. So it counts for all. If you draw that, you would only get the 1. But you would draw these 2, you could draw both pinks here, both yellows here. However you want to mix that, you can draw 2 in total. You can play down a route. Again, it's just your boats and your train cards to put down a route and score points for it. Let's say I played down, what a terrible starting hand. Let's say I played freaking this one just to get some stuff on. So boats, get it started. So we head on down here. There we go. You know, discard this one to a separate discard pile. Or you can draw up the very regular 4 new tickets to get and keep having to keep one of them. Now the big different thing is, of course, your little thing here. Oh, of course, when you play down 2, you score 2 points, I believe. What the hell is the score track of that sheet? So there, yeah, 2 and 2. Great. Your little harbors here. You play down a harbor on a blue zone, the ones with the harbor symbol like that. Now you must, for example down here, these 2 symbols here. Now you must be touching it without the boats or trains, and to play it you need these symbols up here. It's a little harbor symbol right there. You can see it. That symbol. So you need 2 boats and 2 trains with that symbol in the same color. Hello, Zoe. That is my cat, laying right there staring up at me. So yeah, pretty freaking difficult to achieve, to get those. Very difficult to achieve, but then you can put it down. For example, in Miami, don't even have close to having the cards right here. Anyways, say I played it there. And that's about the difference. Now we come to the scoring, of course. Scoring is very much the same. You have your tickets, score for everyone you completed, minus for everyone you didn't complete. And of course, you know, the points you achieved throughout the game. Then you get harbor points, points for your harbors. Well, you get 20 points if the harbor, if you know, you have one route card that has the city in it and there's a harbor and the route is completed. And you get 20 points for having 1 route, 30 points for having 2 routes, and 40 points for having 3 or more routes. So, let me see if I can use this one in here. That's not even the correct one. No, obviously I haven't really chosen it. But if I had multiple routes with, for example, Miami, and I was going to Edinburgh, and I was going to Rio de Janeiro and to Lagos, I would score more and more points if it was at Miami. And that's all that's different, honestly. Oh right, yeah, minus 4 points if you have not used all of your harbors. Well, it's minus 4 per unused harbor. Boy, and that's all of the points. So that's how you play the game. Well, at least you know the world map. And you're probably wondering, well, is the Great Lakes map any different? No, it's not. Absolutely not. There is no difference between the world and the Great Lakes in terms of gameplay. The only difference, only bloody difference, is the amount of points you score for your harbors. It is simply a different map. Now, honestly, I'm not complaining about that, but I am a little bit. I read through the rules just to make sure, but you see the Great Lakes map right here. Very nice. Score track is in a different way. But you score this exact same, except you get 10 points less for your harbors. And that's about it. That's the difference between it. So yeah, let's head back on about and talk about it. A quick addition to the rules that I forgot to mention is you can swap between trains and boats along the gameplay. So if you want, for example, you need 2 more trains, but you have 2 extra boats, you can switch it around with some from your supply. It all will cost you a point per switch. So for 2, it would cost you 2 points. Yeah, forgot to mention that. Anyways, the gameplay. Let's talk about it. Well, the gameplay in essence is Ticket to Ride, but this time you are switching between boats and trains, which in of itself is very interesting to do the switch and trying to manage, you know, and you gotta have some of both. Definitely need a little bit more boats than I do trains because those are the long routes. And otherwise, also why they recommend you starting with more. So that in of itself is pretty interesting. You know, a twist to it with the boats. Of course, you could have hoped for a little bit more difference between the two maps. It's you know, it's the same gameplay, it's just less points. So that in and of itself, you know, is pretty interesting. But then you add the harbors, which are also fairly interesting, giving you a way of scoring points and give you minus if you don't get all of them played. Fair enough. No, because the harbors bring an extreme level of luck. Like Ticket Ride has a little bit of luck depending on the routes you get and the cards you get, but you can kind of negate that by planning out your turns a lot, and which is quite possible even at high play counts. But adding the harbors adds so much luck. First of all, you need those harbor symbols on the same color. That's 4 symbols, 2 of the same color. That's pretty freaking difficult. That's difficult, you know. So you end up drawing a lot of cards just to get those, and then you have the fact that they score more points for more routes to the same city. How often can you say you have routes in the same city? Because I can't say that all of the time. Sure, I can say it. I've had it happen, but all of the time. Every single time. All of the time. Every single time. That. When we played one game, my girlfriend was well lucky, and she got 3 routes in the same city, and she of course put a harbor in that city, because of course she would. I got one where I got 2 to that same city. So I was quite fortunate, and I of course got that, and I scored some points through that. She was then fortunate enough to get another one where she had 2. So all of a sudden now she's sitting with freaking, what is the points? 40 and 30, 70 points. I'm not 70, 30 points because I was unlucky. It had nothing to do with the gameplay. You know, I played my cards to the fullest, fulfilled my routes and did it, but she was just lucky enough to get them. Because I of course put my harbors out other places to just score 20 points. And she put out her last harbor as well to score just 20 points, I believe. So she in the end got away quite a long way with that. Now she ended up winning also because she had some better routes and some, you know, longer points, giving her more points than me, but she ended up winning. Not because of that, but it very much felt like it was because of that, because she scored so many more points than me purely because of luck. And I can easily see a game very close, getting a lot of routes done and you're very close in it, but that harbor can change it all because he was lucky enough to get 3 routes out of the same harbor city. You could also have placed down a harbor very early on because you think, yeah, I'm just gonna get this down, points, and then later in the game you draw up cards to go to that city. So you didn't even plan, which my girlfriend halfly did. She had 2 of the same ones, you put one, and she drew up the 3rd one. So you don't even plan, you're just lucky enough to get it. So it adds so much luck with the harbors. I really don't like those. I think it's interesting mixing trains and boats in this game, bringing it across the world. But the harbors add so much luck to the game. It's insane. That's basically all there is different to the gameplay of this game, of course. Of course, playing the harbors, by the way. I mentioned a lot of the scoring, but the playing of the harbors is just bullcrap. Again, adds so much luck. Because it's got to be the same color, you've got a need of 4 of them. It's insane. I could understand if it was like 2, then as it was started off with 1 of each, then 2 of each, then 3 of each. Building up on it. Or maybe it shouldn't be the same color, but it is. It's 2 and it's the same color, and that's very difficult to achieve. If you also want to achieve some routes, and all of a sudden before you look around, game's over, you haven't done it because you weren't lucky enough to draw the cards, to play them, or to score enough points from them. It adds so much luck and I hate it. But let's talk about components. Well, the trains are about where they usually are, and the markers and the cards, and the board is huge. It's freaking, it filled up so much of the table. Jesus, it's really big. I mean, I've gotten it cleaned up now, but when we initially played it, we had an extra table sitting here with the board, because otherwise we couldn't be here. I've gotten it cleaned up now, mostly. But the board is the high quality I expect from Ticket to Ride games, the cards, the quality I expect. And then you have the boats, a new addition to it. but good quality, very good quality. Like trains, they just don't look as detailed, the boats. I think they're missing something in the look. Like the trains are pretty good, and some detailing on them, not amazing, but they look pretty good. The boats are kind of missing a little bit of detailing on them. Something to make them stand out a little bit more than just plastic pieces with a furnace. That's about it. That's not the name, is it? I don't know. Chimney, that's the word for it. Chimney, that's the word for it. With a chimney. But other than that, it's good components that you expect of good sturdy box. And of course, artwork is about what you expect. I like this one because it makes all of the trains and the boats look a little bit different, a little bit more to a culture, so to speak. So that's nice, making them more unique, all of them, instead of just, you know, game to game, but it's you know, the game, so that's nice. The board, the Great Lakes board look really good. Like the world map looks good, it looks like a ticket ride map. The Great Lakes map is really cool, the green makes the blue pop a little bit more, and the artwork around, that looks really good actually, the Great Lakes map. That looks really good with the artwork on it. So that's pretty nice. So yeah, does it lie to you? What does that say on this box? It's probably in here. 2 to 5 players, 10 and up, 90 to 120 minutes. I mean 2 to 5, yeah, that's the same as most ticket rides. 10 and up is, yeah, this is not the most complicated ticket ride ever. You can kind of understand going around, so yeah, sure. If you played with the kid a bit more, right? Like I know my sister my brother who's about 10 and my sister who's closing in on 10 would not really play with this with me. I think that's a little bit too much fun, but I haven't played a lot with them because they don't really want to play. But otherwise, sure. 60 to 100, what's that? Or was it 90? With 90 to 120. That's probably fairly accurate. 1.5 to 2 hours. It's fairly long. There's more boats and stuff in it. There's more options to choose. But I think you'll play it a little bit fast if you're playing with people who knew Ticket to Ride and who learned the game. But yeah, sure. It's about where it is. I mean, there's not a lot to talk about with Ticket to Rides. I think they're pretty accurate. I think LNR, Moon and Days of Wonder are very experienced within this one, so they know what they're talking about. So what is the final score for this game? It's gonna be another low score for this game, 7 out of 10. As I say, that lock, the trains and the boats, fairly interesting, I like it, but then you add the harbors and you add such an enormous level of just love to draw. And that just brings it crashing down. If the harbors weren't there or if they were different, this quite possibly could go to a 9 or a 10. That enormous amount of luck just pulls it right down to a 7. Considered even making it a 6, but it is still a Ticket to Ride game, and that's what's keeping it at a 7 out of 10 for me. But I'm still keeping it. The goal is still to own all the Ticket to Rides, so it's still in my collection. It's still someone that I'm keeping. Just probably not going to play it that much, like the Japan map. So yeah. I mean, going to the Japan map, the Italy map pulled it up a little bit for me because Japan, in this one, lock is pulling it way down, but the train and boat mixture pulls it a little bit up again, keeping it at a 7. So yeah, that's another episode of Tabletop Reviews done. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.